Charpentier will motor into pole position. Alongside him will be Katsuaki Fujiwara, the ever-smiling cat. Alongside him, number 84, Michel Fabrizio. And then number 99, Fabien Foret. Second row of the grid, Curtin, Colgan, Parks, and another former champion, Stefan Chambon on the Gil Motorsport Honda. The tiny little Frenchman who really looked, dare we say, past his sell-by date last year. He really seemed to be struggling a bit last year. Can he make a comeback at the age of 39, a little man from Carpentras?
I don't think he can.
No,
big wheel into somebody off the second.
Oh dear me, and everybody's making as bad a start as they possibly can for one another, and somebody went almost from the front row to the back on that start. It might have been Fabien Foret. Someone had a terrible start.
Foret's not a good start, it has to be said.
Well, he could have given himself a lot of work to do here, because the number 16 bike at the front is Sebastian Charpentier, the man who was a clear second quicker in practice. And the
How did Foret manage to get back there?
Well, he just seemed to stop and pull little wheelies and little sort of twiggy wheelies that took him nowhere at all. Second place, number 8, Stefan Chambon, one man who can make a fast start, and it's a French one too, because Bong Bong has somehow surged all the way through in his debut on Honda after all those years with Alstara Corona, but he's just been taken by Fabrizio. Michel Fabrizio has gone whipping past.
And that's one of the...
that was number 21.
Well, got it all wrong.
Fujiwara.
It's Fujiwara that sized his way back to the back from the front row. It was not Foret.
It was the cat who got his tail pulled and has ended up way back, sunk in the pack. So he's got a huge amount of work to do. So Charpentier's given himself the start he needed, but potential danger man Fabrizio is in there in second place. There is Fabien Foret. I'm terribly sorry. I apologise to the ferret.
Too.
He's in fourth place. Hasn't made this clown start we thought he had. And behind him is Brock Parks with his perennial number 23. And that is Katsuaki Fujiwara trying to make ground.
He's got a lot of ground to make.
He's got a lot of ground to make up. There's one of the Kawasaki's in there as well, number 30, Alessandro Antonello.
Yeah, the bike stopped. I tell you what, he's gone for the starter and he stalled it. He completely stalled the bike. The engine stopped. You could actually see his right hand going for the starter button again, because all these bikes have to be fitted with working starter motors. So lucky for him it was, otherwise he wouldn't have got it going again.
He must be thankful for that.
Yeah.
And I'm very impressed by Antonello. Tony Carter mentioned him before the race. Antonello was the long-standing test rider with the Aprilia factory, and he turned into some pretty decent performances when he was allowed to race back in 2001. But he never seemed to be as good a racer in this sort of seething pack. Mind you might just disprove me now. You can see the bright green Kawasaki right in amongst them.
Yeah, really tall, dour-looking
very
bloke. He never smiled.
He looks like a sort of Goya paintings. You know, he's got that thin, sallow look, rather like Jezza, actually, a younger version of Jezza. And he's in there though.
Jezza does laugh a lot.
Yes,
you never see him other than a big frown on his face.
Well, he's up there, putting the Kawasaki in amongst the rest of the pigeons. But he's just lost the place to Katsuaki Fujiwara. Fujiwara making giant strides on the Winston Tenkate Honda.
Yeah, because if he doesn't make them in the first few laps, Jack, the pack's spread out and there's no way you're going to make any ground after that. Plus the fact you're having to give your tyres a lot of stick. You're having to go offline, you're having to turn it in harder, open the throttle earlier and give your tyres a lot more stick than the rest of the guys.
In second place, the 20-year-old Michel Fabrizio from Frascati, who tweaks it as well. And he looks impressive.
Fujiwara's now up to about 5th place, I reckon. Maybe 6th.
And one thing that we haven't mentioned, we ought to mention, the man who's in third, I think has got through into third place, number 23, Brock Parks. The young Aussie is riding with a broken hand. He's got 2 bust what do they call them?
Metacarpals, is it? Metatarsals?
Something like that. Yeah. It was like what David Beckham broke, but it's in his hand rather than his foot. So he's not riding entirely comfortably, but he's the man who snatched that second position in the championship from Van der Gorberg in the last round at Magny-Cours last year.
And Charpentier is away with this already.
11th place for Jürgen van der Gorberg on that Ducati. Perhaps he's beginning to find himself with some sort of setup he's a bit happier with. Now he's reached the race, because it really was surprising to see him that far back. Here comes Fujiwara. And there's 2 former teammates together. One has split off to Winston Tenkate Honda.
That's him up to 4th. And 4th place after actually stopping the engine on the start.
Do you think
good?
Do you think that Gerrit Kankate's got a pretty quick CBR 600 out there?
I believe so. It certainly starts up fairly quick, doesn't it? It's a good starter. When he sells it, you can say good starter.
He's already up to 4th place.
Yeah, he is.
So Fujiwara now is eyeing up Brock Parks, and Parks just ahead of him on the Yamaha Motor Germany R6. Sebastian Charpentier, well, he and Muggeridge, he was virtually on Muggeridge's pace, and Muggers said that he was lucky to beat him at a couple of the races. He shook his head after the Brands Hatch scrap that they had and said I was really lucky to win that. He made one little mistake, but really he was otherwise outpacing me. Yep. So we know that Sebastian has the pace. And the number 16 bag, 31-year-old now, the man from La Rochefoucauld, who's a previous World Endurance Championship round winner, of course, and has been very, very competitive in other series. He and William Costas really did nothing on those Elf Hondas at the end of the 1990s when they were in the World Supersports. But he's just come to light in the last couple of years since he came back into it. It was, of course, the German Claffey Honda team that gave him his big chance last year, and he certainly grabbed it with both hands.
Was it last year he had the altercation with Brock Parks?
Yes, it might have. Oh, yes, I think it might have been. Yes, I think it cost him.
Love loss, certainly no love loss
right.
between Charpentier and Brock.
It cost him a tooth or two in a bar in Phillip Island, didn't it?
Well, he's safe now because Brock Parks got a broken right hand.
Actually, yeah, probably as a result of that. Perhaps he's had another go at him. Brock Parks is still hanging on to that 4th place behind Foray, but ahead of Fujiwara in 5th. So Fujiwara's steamed through to there, but now he's come up behind the faster boys.
Well, that's the thing. That's the point. Yeah, the further up you get, the harder it gets.
Incidentally, Charpentier, he originally came to our notice when he won the European Supersports Championship round at Brands Hatch in '97. He also won at the Nürburgring in pouring rain in 1998. And he won the Le Mans 24-hour race in Y2K.
Yeah, and that is a quick bike that Fujiwara's on. He just drove clean past, I think, Foray then, down the straight. No,
it was Brock Parks.
It was Parks, yeah.
He's now got Foray in his sights. Yep. Fabien Foray, of course, the world champion in 2002, has recovered from that terrible crash. He rolled. He was terrific and courageous the way he recovered from that accident at Brands. On crutches, but racing again.
Yeah, and the point about that is, Jack, when you're riding with a broken leg, particularly as bad a broken ankle as what he had, you know that you can't afford to fall off again, otherwise it's not good. You really don't want to be falling off with pins and plates and the things screwed together.
And he did.
I know he did, and that plays in your mind more than anything. I've been in that position, and it's not a good position to be in.
Oh, and look, we haven't seen the Fabien Foray look over the shoulder for a little while yet. There it was.
We did then.
I think he must have been checking the fact that, oh yes, it is Fujiwara who's right there behind me. Because some people come in and say they had no idea who it was who was right behind them. I remember Foggy saying that about you when you bust the lap record at Brands Hatch on that Suzuki, and he had not realised it was you right behind him in the closing stages.
Well, he just didn't expect it to be me, that's all. It was the first time I'd done it all year.
And here comes Fujiwara. Ooh, he tries to sneak underneath, and Forrest says no way. Fabien Foray, of course, has ridden for. He's been around the streets a bit, hasn't he, with Tenkate Honda?
He has, and I feel a little bit sorry for Foray.
With Yamaha Italia.
I do feel a bit sorry for him because at the start of last year on the Belgada bike as was, the Yamaha Motor Italy bike now, he actually looked like the man who was going to win the championship. He'd won it before. He was so quick in testing. The bikes were good, and he had a terrible year. A couple of breakdowns when he didn't need him. He was knocked off a couple of times. He fell off himself and broke his leg. And really, he saw last year as his last season in World Supersport, and he was going to move on to World Superbike, and it just hasn't worked out like that. And I do feel a little bit sorry for him.
He ended up in 7th position in the championship with 66 points after all. That 3 behind Kevin Curtin. But he did have that remarkable win at he did have that remarkable win in Silverstone before. In fact, he'd reached winning ways after those 2 unlucky breakdowns before he had that awful crash at Brands Hatch.
Exactly, and to be honest, every round he looked like, I think he was leading one race when the bike let him down. I think maybe electrical problem, and he was one of the quickest riders out there. He just had a lot of bad luck last year. And I think
that was some races we saw on that review of the year. That race at Silverstone that he just got the better of Muggers. That was a sensational race.
Yep. Oh, Kelly's packed in. He was watching Coronation Street Omnibus, I reckon.
I thought that was on Sundays.
Oh yeah, sorry, it's Saturday, isn't it?
We're racing on a Saturday here, aren't we?
Yeah.
The Muslims don't like to have us racing on a Sunday, so it's a Saturday race day here, rather like in Jez's native Northern Ireland, actually.
Yeah, most racing in Northern Ireland done on a Saturday.
And Fabien Foray is riding. Nice to see him riding at his obstructive best. He's not letting Fujiwara through.
Yeah, and what happens is you get past him, you're going quicker than him, you get past him, and then he immediately just takes you back and shocks you into staying behind him. You'll see him bite back straight away when Fujiwara gets past him.
He's another guy with a terrific record in World Endurance Championship racing, you know. He was in it from 1998. He was third at Le Mans in 1998, second at the Bol d'Or in 1999. He won at Spa-Francorchamps and Bol d'Or, and was third at Oschersleben in 2000. Fantastic record in World Endurance Championship racing.
Yep.
Fabrizio hasn't escaped from these two. Even these two are having a really good snarl up between the pair of them. Fabrizio hasn't got away from them. It's Charpentier who's escaped at the front.
And he has escaped.
So heading down the finishing straight then, the two Team Italian mega bike Hondas. I was going to say the second and third, they're not now.
Look how quick the Tenkata bike is. It's quick. Those are quick, to be honest.
So the Honda 1, 2, 3, 4, the four guys who are on the front row of the grid, that has been re-established. But the faster bikes look like being the Tenkata ones. Can Fabien Foray come back? No, Fujiwara's away from him instantly.
Yep.
Behind them, incidentally, we've got Kevin Curtin's R6 in 5th place, 6th Stefan Chambon, 7th Brock Parks with that broken hand.
Van der Goberg topped the caddy down in 11th.
Yeah, at least he's got the better of his teammates this time around.
Yeah.
We've got, incidentally, the guy who's in 8th place is Javier Forres, Spaniard, riding for the Elstara Corona Suzuki team. I'd forgotten that they had a bike in this. I thought they were focusing so hard on World Superbikes. I'd quite forgotten that there was a Suzuki out there.
Just probably couldn't sell them all from last year and thought I'll put somebody out on it.
Yeah, well, they hadn't done their reputation any good in the 600 class last year, had they? Sébastien Charpentier looking terrific at the front. This is a guy who's just happy as Larry all the time. He's just always smiling. He's got a pair of very distinctive fuzzy sideburns, and there's always a happy set of gleaming teeth in between them. He just really enjoys life.
They will gleam. A couple of them are brand new.
And look at this now, Katsuaki Fujiwara beginning to close on Michel Fabrizio in 2nd place. There is Kevin Curtin. There is Stefan Chambon, and Brock Parks has closed the gap on Chambon. Painful hand or not. Is Brock Parks very much the protege of your old mate Wayne Gardner that you had a great dust up with Goodwood with last year? Is he still there with him?
In actual fact, yeah, he is. And the beginning of Parks' international career on Superbike, on a Ducati, actually, Gardner must have, I think it was the year he wasn't doing any car racing at home and didn't have a lot on, and he actually came to just about every single meeting that year. You'd see him on the grid, in the pits, helping him with a setup. You haven't seen him with him for a long time, but I do believe that he's still involved, yeah. And in actual fact, Gardner's still going good. I mean, I raced with him down at Goodwood Revival on some old Manx Nortons, and he still wants to race bikes. He really does. He wants to have. In fact, he beat me, the beggar. Only because I'm.
I thought it was 1-1.
It was 1-1, but he beat me overall in time by about 0.2 of a second.
Oh, see it.
I let him win, Jack.
A touch of, of course, a touch of the Regis Laconi and Yukio Kageyama's then.
You
were the Laconi of the piece.
It's a lot more serious than that.
Charpentier with the length of a short straight separating him from his pursuers, and at the moment it's not his teammate, it's not yet that familiar Tenkate 1-2, because Fujiwara hasn't found a way past Michel Fabrizio. Fabrizio, I've got to say again, I thought was getting quite overlooked in MotoGP last year. I thought he looked terrific at times on that WCM, you know, which was hardly the state-of-the-art bike to be on in MotoGP.
Oh God, no, these are probably quicker.
Sébastien Charpentier looking comfortable at the front. And he certainly was. He was the only man in the second half of the season who had Mugridge's pace, and he's certainly proving that now. He's simply taken up where the position that he'd reached at the end of last season. And further down we've got Antonello on the Kawasaki is still 10th, 11th Van der Gorberg, 12th Gianluca Nanelli, so the two 749Rs are nose to tail there. And then Lausleto, the Finn in 13th place, 14th is David Garcia, 15th is Mikovsky.
Call me old-fashioned, Jack, but I don't like to see these lads. A lot of them modern cropper riders are wearing the leathers on the outside of the boots.
I just noticed that.
I don't know what's going on there.
It's a bit like getting ready.
I mean, your flares over your wellies, isn't it? You roll your trousers up, you tuck them into your wellies.
There goes.
Yep, there you go.
Fujiwara through into second place, just slides across. I just noticed it with Charpentier, and I was thinking that's a bit like the motocross lads when it's wet and filthy and horrible, and they don't want to get muck down them boots.
Yeah. I don't agree with that. I don't think it looks as good. What's the fact there's somebody paying you to wear nice, clean boots with the logos that stand out, and you're covered in them up?
I don't know. You're going to have to ask Sebastian about that. Excuse me, Seb. Why do you choose to wear your trousers outside your boots? These guys don't, anyway. At least you've got the traditional look here with Katsuaki Fujiwara. Oh, look at Fujigas. He was on it then, wasn't he?
Yeah, no bother though.
Oh, great. Near bother. Just reminding myself of a Scotsman, and Neil Mackenzie will have been chuffed with Kageyama because he really rated him when he was racing for Suzuki in Superbikes.
I think Neil worked with him quite closely all the way through his time in Britain doing BSB, and as I say, Kageyama's a guy you can't help liking, and I think Neil would have been really pleased to see him going as well as he has done, especially been through what he's been through.
I noticed that Yukio's English hasn't improved a great deal under
Not
Mackenzie's influence.
Not at well, neither has Neil's. His English ain't so good, is it?
I know.
Well, it's better than mine, I must admit.
I wonder if he used to sit him down like he did the two boys and make them repeat Murder and Burger every Friday night.
Yeah, just to keep them Scottish.
It failed.
Saying that, Neil speaks some Japanese because he spent a fair bit of time in Japan racing. Yeah, he did a couple of full seasons out there. Yeah. He likes you. He's a real. He loves Japan. He said he could live there, which is unusual because nobody else can. When he's Japanese, it's so different. It's so different.
Although it must be his number 2 choice after Sterling then. Here we go down the main straight, and Fabrizio not letting Fujiwara get away. Interesting. You know, it doesn't look to me like the Tenkate Honda's that much superior in now that he's got ahead.
Remember though, Jack, the slipstream is very important to these Supersport bikes, more important than on the Superbike. And even right in the slipstream, and a good drag out the last corner, he couldn't even level with Fujiwara there. So I think there is difference. I think you're wrong, basically, is what I'm saying.
It's all right. It would not be the first time. The last 5 laps comparing times for Fabrizio on the CBR 600RR of the Italia Megabike team.
I know with all these R's in the Honda, do you think it was just somebody who was actually writing up the sales pamphlets, had a stutter, and they just put and then it stuck?
And it could be, couldn't it? It's certainly, look at that. I mean, how many more do you want? Will it be RRR next year when they produce yet another new one? Fujiwara just beginning to squeeze that gap now. Oh, look, he's so beautiful the way he drifts it and clips the apex on the right-hander.
Yeah, it's a good track for that, because if you look at it, I think it would be. I've never ridden the track. The camber's really nice, and that's what gives you the sort of ability to let it slide in a lot of places. And even on these bikes, I mean, they've a lot of power now. These things are up to sort of 140, 145 horsepower. And on street tyres, which is essentially what they're on, it is possible to slide, but they're not as easy as a superbike to look like you're actually sliding the rear. The less power you've got, the harder it is to do.
That's why Mugridge has said, love it, more power. It's what I've been wanting all these years. Get on a superbike. Actually, Mugridge had a test with Aprilia, didn't he, about 3 years ago? That was a very successful one. He almost took him on.
Yeah, he went well on it. Yeah, he did.
Fujiwara, of course, had he had some disappointing dips into motorcycle Grand Prix and World Superbikes and never really cut it because he's quite a big lad.
With Suzuki, he actually nicked my ride at the end of '98. Well, can't say that. The team changed from Harris to the All-Star team, and I lost my ride. And I remember watching him very closely the season after and thought, ha ha ha. I was hoping he wouldn't find it so easy. But he's a nice lad. He's a good bloke.
He is, forever smiling, another of the happy-go-lucky brigade, well, on the outside at any rate. And he now looks like he's just going after Sebastian Charpentier to see if he can do anything about him. Charpentier's last lap was 2 minutes 6.186. Fujiwara was 2 minutes 5.5. So Fujiwara is managing to close the gap. Slightly, there's confirmation, it's down to just a milli gap over 4 seconds.
But when you get a 4-second gap, really, you've got enough time to sort of push on if you need to do and give yourself a bit of an easy time. So as long as Charpentier is getting good lap signals from his team, which he will be, when how professional their team is, I can't see a problem.
So far, our meteorological expert, Chris Walker, has proved absolutely right about the weather, that they'd have a wet first race and everything would be fine in the afternoon.
That's what he said, yeah.
The Winston Tenkate Hondas lying currently 1-2. They were, of course, 1-2 in the championship last year, and they've won the championship 3 years on the trot, because Fabien Fore's World Championship was won for Tenkate Honda in 2002, and then Chris Vermeulen took over in 03, Carl Muggeridge in 04, and at the moment Charpentier, instantly and astutely hired by Ronald Tenkate, is leading it for them in the first round of 05.
Yeah, and I mean, he's knocked it off. The last 3 laps have been mid to low 6s, and before that we know he's capable of doing, or certainly at the beginning with a fresh tyre was capable of doing mid 05, so I think he's controlling the race from the front, will be the technical term, I think.
Since he came back into this series in effect, Charpentier finished 7th in 2003 when Vermeulen won it ahead of Chambon and Van der Goorberg and Muggeridge. And then Muggeridge won it ahead of Parks and Van der Goorberg last year, and Fore was once, and beg your pardon, Charpentier was in 4th place. So he's just gradually moved into contention during his couple of seasons back in the series. Fabrizio is impressive, isn't he? Because he's not letting Katsuaki Fujiwara off the hook.
No, he is. No. And Jeremy said he would be.
The Italian mech. Oh, Antonello!
Yeah.
Oh, the Soul Kawasaki goes down in the dirt.
Face as long as a wet weekend. Big lad for a 600 rider, to be honest.
And Antonello has gone out of 10th place then. He was trying to just, he was less than a 10th of a second behind Javier Forres on his Suzuki GSX 600. And Kristoff Colgan was also just ahead there, and he was obviously just straining a little too steeply to try and get the better of them, because I think he probably had a little bit of a gap over Gianluca Nanelli. Charpentier, as the Kawasaki, looking a little second-hand, is dragged to the side. Oh, it is looking a mess, isn't it?
He's got the low tail look, the retro look there.
That's right, that your Suzuki's had in '98. That sort of tail on it.
It is, yeah.
Charpentier, Fujiwara, Fabrizio at the front. Curtin, Fore, Brock, Parks, 4th, 5th and 6th. Chambon, Colgan, Javier Forres, and now Gianluca Nanelli rounding out the top 10. And we've lost Van der Goorberg. I've just realised that Van der Goorberg's gone a lap down, and we've lost him on the 749R. Looking for a moment there at number 24, Kristoff Colgan.
The highest runners of the Suzukis,
yeah,
I think.
And actually, he and Stefan Chambon have both ridden in 75 World Supersports races before today. Kristoff Colgan, considering he's never had a race win, a pole position or a rostrum in his long career, he did actually come close 2 or 3 years ago at Silverstone. He binned it when he was within sight of getting on the rostrum for the first time in his career.
Yes, on a red Honda.
Yes,
that's
correct.
right. Yeah, man, everybody binned it that day. That's the year I binned it.
And still won.
Cassidy binned it.
Was that in the rain?
Yeah, poor he was having a good run, was Colgan. He was.
Well, that was the closest he ever got to a rostrum finish, bless him, in a long career.
Unlucky.
34-year-old now, the man from Angers-les-Bains. 7 laps to go.
Charpentier went really, really, really wide then and had a look back, and that to me would suggest
you said I don't think he's relaxing at the front.
I don't think he is. I think you're right, Jack. I don't think he is. He certainly ran really wide and had a look back. I'm wondering if he's got problems. He's certainly feeling a little bit of pressure, I think, if you look back. And he's starting to try and push on now.
And Katsuaki has been... Now, Katsuaki Fujiwara, James, the fact that he's been pushing on all the time means that he'd be really focused and well in the groove.
In a groove, that's right, yeah. And as long as nothing happens untoward to Fujiwara's tyres, certainly.
Well, last lap was 2.68 for Charpentier,
yeah.
2.60 for Fujiwara.
Yeah, 0.8 of a second quicker on that last lap.
Ooh, so Fujiwara warming up now for an attack. It's a little while since he won a World Supersports race, Katsuaki Fujiwara.
It is. It took a long time to get going on Supersport bikes, but then really got in the groove and went really well.
He's had 4 race wins, 5 pole positions, 13 podiums. But he's
be...
also had a few breakdowns in his time, you know, blown engines and stuff as well.
He has.
So Fujiwara, who...
Let's see, that is visibly closer, Jack.
Fujiwara really struggled last year. He had the 1 podium at the opening round in Valencia.
1.5 seconds-ish, I think.
But now he's coming good here on the Honda. He must be enjoying the power of the Honda here. And of course, Fujiwara challenged for the championship hard against Fabien Fauré in 2002. The critical point was his DNF at the opening round in Spain, where Fauré won. But after that, he was super consistent. 3 of his race victories came that year. He won in Germany, he won at Brands Hatch, and he won in Italy at Imola at the final round.
He's less than a second. He's pulled back. He's pulled back 1.3 seconds. And he's just getting quicker and quicker now. He's Fujiwara.
He only lost out by 3 points in that championship in 2002, so we know how...
Never mind about that, look.
Sorry.
I'll tell you what, I think it's what's called getting the bit... he's with him. There's something wrong with Charpentier's bike. He's got his tyres gone or something.
Well, his fastest lap early on was 2 minutes 4.6, which was 0.3 of a second quicker than anything that the Cats turned out all
Fujiwara has
race.
dipped back down into the 5s, mid-5s, which is quick for this portion of the race. Look, when you look at everybody else's times. Unbelievable, there's something gone... I mean, Charpentier, I can only think, has a problem.
Fujiwara then within a couple of bike lengths of his teammate, and the Winston 10 Cartier boys won't be under any team orders at all, of course. Fujiwara...
Not at this stage in the season.
Fujiwara wants to take the race win. So number 21, the 29-year-old from Shimonoseki in Japan.
Easy for you to say, Jack.
Not. Trying to get the lead now off his French teammate.
And now Charpentier looks like he's got going again a little bit. Weird.
Well, actually, he has had some curious inconsistencies in his time. It's a bit like the Charpentier of old. You know, we would see certain glimpses of absolute brilliance from him during the first chapter of his World Supersports career, and then nothing. Oh, here comes the cat now, surely.
They broke at the same time.
Oh, Charpentier bravely hangs it across the front of Katsuaki Fujiwara and stays in the lead. Oh, and then he takes a real mugger's wide line and slings it right and left.
Right back across the front.
Fujiwara's just that bit tighter on the turns.
To me, I would be, if I was Charpentier, I'd be looking at letting Fujiwara sneak past and then following him and see what he's got in the locker, because he's not going to get much of a chance now with 5 laps to go, and he ain't going to get away, I wouldn't have thought. You know, it's Fujiwara that's been doing all the catching. But let's see if he's got a plan that's better than mine.
Would it surprise you if he did?
Not at all, no. Plans were never my strong point.
What Ronald Tenkate, second left there in that picture, will be thinking to himself is, don't do anything silly.
Exactly,
boys.
Yeah, they don't really want to be tripping each other up here.
We've got a lovely 1-2 here.
Just
enjoy the scrap, but let's stay friends.
Yep.
Actually, that's what we were praying for a few years ago when you and Ian McPherson clashed at Phillip Island.
We didn't clash.
Sorry, no, you didn't clash.
I went on the inside of me, crashed. We never went anywhere near each other. You keep saying that.
I know, I'm sorry. I beg your pardon. It was just that you were just egging one another on. That's what it was.
Yeah, and it came out perfectly for me, thanks.
And here he got.
And he was up on his backside, but
Fujiwara desperate to find a way past. And if we check out the previous 2 lap times, 2:6.5, 2:5.6. And that was the lap, of course, on which Fujiwara closed right up behind his teammate. Oh, I tell you what, Charpentier's responded and he's blocking him at the moment.
What's the time?
But this is going to be the critical one.
Yep.
Down the straight now. Fujiwara surely winding up for a pass this time.
Yeah, you'd think so. Exactly the same bikes, which is good to see.
Oh, Charpentier weaves across the front and then sets himself up for that wide line. He favours and he's got it. 4 laps to go, he's still there. 0.038 of a second across the line. 2 minutes 6.801. 2 minutes 6.804.
But
that's how close it was.
But we know that Fujiwara at this stage of the race was going quicker. He's into the 5s when he was catching Charpentier up. So you would think that if Fujiwara can get by,
he'll win it. He's going to try again now, but Charpentier, I tell you what,
just a little bit better on the brakes.
He's a bit better on the brakes.
Just slightly better on the brakes.
And it means he can sustain those wide lines that he favours.
He does. He's got, Fujiwara. He tried to get, that was a Laconi passage. Just tried to get a drag out of that, a good drive out of that corner.
God, he is capable of turning it tight and keeping the power down.
Lost a bit of time there, did Fujiwara, I've got to say. He got a bit of a slide mid-corner.
Couple of bike lengths gone.
Yep.
This is going to go all the way.
This 4 laps to go. Fujiwara needs to settle down now and pick his moment and try and set something up, because it's such an hard place to pass. And Charpentier seems just slightly better on the brakes.
So the slim... Oh, and down has gone Kristoff Colgan. What we were saying about the fact that his career is plagued by moments like that.
Yep.
Just when he looks like he's headed for a good finish, Kristoff Colgan
was in 8th, I think.
Bins it out of 8th place. So Charpentier, Fujiwara, Fabrizio, Curtin, Foray, Parks, Chambon, Forrest, Nanelli and Losail. The Finn on his Honda has come into the top 10.
Yep, and Fujiwara now lining him up again. He's gonna...
Oh, here he comes. He's surprised.
I tell you what, he just isn't good enough on the brakes. Just isn't good enough. He needs to stop behind him. He needs to get a run through the last corner so he can actually get past him on the straight.
How much difference does weight make on these bikes? Because he's a very slim guy, Charpentier.
Nothing. They're both like blooming skinned rabbits. There's nothing in it. And you can see when they brake.
He's got it this time.
Has he managed to keep it tight, because he has.
And suddenly Fujiwara makes the break. Oh, and straight away Sebastian surprises him by looking over his shoulder.
He's just checking to see who's behind him, to see if he has to try and stay with Fujiwara, which would, to me, would suggest that Charpentier knows that Fujiwara's got the beating of him. Because when you're looking behind at this stage in the race, you just don't want to fall back anymore. I think Fujiwara's got this, I do. I think at this stage in the race he's capable of going quite a bit quicker than Charpentier. He caught him up so fast.
So the 16th of 18 laps of round 1 of World Supersports 2005, Fujiwara has nailed first place and he's opened the gap straight away.
It'd be so interesting to find out what Charpentier's got to say. I can only assume he had problems, because his lap times dropped off by a couple of seconds, 2 seconds from what was going early on. Yeah. And Fujiwara's has almost stayed the same. In fact, his fastest lap was probably mid-distance when he was catching Charpentier. It'd be interesting. I would assume it'd be a tyre, but you'd think they'd have the same tyres on, and you'd think Fujiwara would have worked his tyres, particularly the rear, a lot harder, because he had to come through from right at the back, and that means running off line, being more aggressive with the throttle, and that you would think, if they'd been on the same rubber, would give you more, give the tyre more stick and you less time to go at it. So it'd be interesting to find out.
Pretty remarkable ride, really, considering Fujiwara was outpaced by a full second during qualifying, and he started off last.
Yeah, to stall the bike on the line, have to go for the starter, set off clap last, and then pull through, and still have enough tyre left to challenge and win. It is some achievement, I've got to say.
So the man who, can I just refer back to the fact that in 2002 lost the championship after 3 race wins during the season. He lost the championship by just 3 points in 2002 for Alstara Corona Suzuki. And here he is leading the first race and heading for his 5th ever World Supersports race win in 2005.
I'm not sure whether having your leathers on the outside of your boots has held him up. I'm telling you.
It's a theory we could put to him. Perhaps it's meant to increase the streamlining effect, as someone's told him. It does look annoyingly like a kind of BMX train, doesn't it?
It does,
really?
yeah. we're retros, aren't we? We don't like these newfangled ways.
Certainly judging by your T-shirts, James, as I'd go across, but I'll go along with that. 2 laps to go.
Just ordered myself a Gary Nixon one, the one that Barry Sheen made famous.
Super, because it was his lucky T-shirt, wasn't it?
Yeah,
He always wore that.
He said because he didn't get killed in his Daytona crash in '75, that he always regarded it as the, and he had one T-shirt. That's the one he had, and it lasted him the rest of his career, which was about another 10 years.
That must have seen a lot of washing powder in its time. At least we hope it did.
Can't smell too good, can it?
So Fujiwara, well, this is interesting. I bet Francis Batter will be quite pleased to see his old whipping boy finally getting himself another race win, because he always, Francis Batter, terrifically loyal to his riders, was always a great supporter of Fujiwara and Chambon, even during their sticky times.
I've got to say, he's a big supporter of his riders, which your team's got to be. You've got your riders for better or worse for that season, and Batter is a man who will actually physically go and have a scrap with somebody for his riders, which he has in the past, and that's a good thing.
I'd forgotten there were 2 Kawasaki's in the race. We've just been 20-year-old Matteo Baiocco on the Lightspeed ZX6RR, yet another double R.
Just about to get the business from the CBR.
Indeed. And he's outside the point. No, Baiocco isn't. He's lying in 14th place, so lapping the 14th place man, having started off dead last.
That's the second time he'll have passed him in this race, by the way.
It is definitely the second time he'll have passed him. He's pulled a lap on him all the way through.
Yep.
So Baiocco will be getting a lesson in how quick he needs to go if he's going to get that Kawasaki up to pace in World Supersports this year. And incidentally, behind him in fact, he's the last man running, because Kristoff Colgan is in the pits with 2 laps down now, in 15th place, allegedly, ahead of fellow crasher Alessandro Antonello.
Strange race, because when you look at the lap times, that last lap, Fujiwara 206, low 206 dead-ish, which is good. Then Charpentier 207.5, that's a second and a half slower, and then Fabrizio 209. And that's another second and a half slower than that, and then it's another second after that. It's really, really spread out on lap times, which would suggest to me that maybe there's some big tyre number going on here, that people are having problems.
Certainly the lap times have shredded drastically to get into the double figures, like Curtin's done on that lap, 2 minutes 10. Forey's on a 2 minute, and everybody else is in the 2 minute 9s.
Yeah.
Which would, as you say, indicate that they're the only guy who's managed to 2 minutes 8 further back and is still on the charge is the 749R Ducati of Gianluca Nanelli in 9th place.
Yep.
So on the final lap then, the Winston Tenkate Hondas carrying on their domination. The change of colour means nothing. They've gone to red, white and blue, but they're still as happy-go-lucky, cavalier and dominant as ever in World Supersports. The Tenkate Honda boys headed for a 1-2. Katsuaki Fujiwara and Sebastian Charpentier. Only the names have changed.
The names have been changed to protect the innocent, Jack.
Brock Parks has done well to manhandle his way round to 6th place with that hand
Here he
injury.
goes. I tell you, that is some impressive ride. From
It
clap
is.
last with a stalled engine. Eh?
And you can hear the cheers ringing out for Katsuaki Fujiwara. Oh, he nearly fell off with joy. What up then?
I don't know.
Stefan Chambon, Honda. Javier Forrest, the first Suzuki, is an Alstara Corona one, of course, in 8th place as the Winston Honda boys congratulate one another.